What's up, ladies and gentlemen? FFDev here, and in this video we're going to be continuing to work on our multiplayer game. And I know it's been a few days since I uploaded, but I've been doing some research and we got a few changes that we got to make. So without further ado, let's get into the action. So what we'll want to do, first of all, is go up here, right under our ENet pointer to client, ENet host pointer to server. We're going to add an ENet event and just name it E event, capital E, then a little event after that. Now we're going to be changing some of our join game code because it occurred to me that we do have a problem with it. So let's see where we join our game. Contains, that's host game. This is join game. So let me look at my notes here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the client. We're going to put it up top. This code here. We're going to change this to a 1. Now we'll change this. We'll cut this here. So I need everything to be in a specific order. We'll check to see if our client is equal to null pointer. Alright. Now what we need to do next is we do have our ENet address here, so that's fine. Now we're going to ENet set host, ENet address set host to a reference to our address. And this should be correct right here. Alright, and now our port, we are going to change the port number. For the purposes of this, we're going to now go to 7777, but you can put it on whatever you want. That's just what I choose. But you got to make sure you change it on the other one when hosting. Next, after we're going to do this, we're going to bring this up a little bit. We're going to say peer equals ENet host connect. And on that's going to take a client, a reference to our address, and we're going to put a 1 here. Alright. Now we're going to check to see if the connection failed. We'll just say if peer is equal to null pointer, failed to connect the server. And then we'll return exit failure, and we're also destroying the client. And we're deinitializing. And now, let's see. Before we do anything else though, what we're going to do now after we do that is we're going to say if ENet host service client, and we're going to take in a reference to E event, and we're just going to give it, 1 second. We'll say if that's greater than 0. And we're going to say and E event dot type is equal to ENet, let's see, event type connect. Let's see, then we can say that it succeeded. Connection to, you don't have to put this if you don't want to, but I'm just putting it that way you'll know what's going on. And the port number. Succeeded. New line. And now I need to close that. Alright. So now that we have that, we'll just go ahead and add a little boolean in here. Bool success equals false. And so now instead of going straight to the next state, you know, we'll say if success equals true. Make sure we check for equivalent equality. We'll put this in here. And actually, we ain't even gonna wait. Then we can go to the game state play. Alright, then we can say if it does that, you know, then we're good. Then we can say else after this. I do not like that bracket there. We'll say ENet peer reset. In case it fails, we'll reset our peer. Let's do DC out. The connection failed. That's what we're gonna do. We already know it's to the same IP as we typed in before. I just don't want to type all that out. And then from there, we can say game state equals game state main menu. We'll send ourselves back to the main menu. Now let's just go ahead and double check this, make sure it works right. So we click on join game. And the connection's failing because there's nobody hosting. So now that we got that all fixed up, next we're gonna go to the host and fix that. So let's see. That's the join game. Ah, here we go. Okay, look at my notes now. We're gonna go to the host game. Okay, so now that we're over here and we're in our area here, make sure where the mouse is click the left, you know, I am host game sprite. We're actually not going to do, yeah, host game sprite, yeah, because that's going to be the server. Let me double check this code now. So this should be correct, but we're going to change the address port to 7777. ENet host create, it takes a reference to the address, so it should be right 32, but we're going to actually change this to a 1 here. The server is equal to null pointer, failed to create ENet host, return exit failure, that's right. And then, let's see, we're going to go ahead and add in, a couple of variables. Did we already add them in? Just in case we need them to make some sense, we'll say bool I am client. This will just equals false. This will just help us keep our logic separated in the game function. And bool I am host. Set that to false. Alright. You'll see why I do that in a minute. Alright, so now that we've got those variables created, we're back here. See if as long as it doesn't return failure, then we'll put I am host, which is the same as I am server, you know, I guess. We can name it either one, equals true. And then, let's see. We will, I don't think that I have to actually double checking this. Alright. So if that's created properly, then I don't have to do any of this here for now. Well, actually, yeah, I do still need this. But we can keep this here just like this. I did make a little bit of a mistake there. So we create our server here. And now we're not going to do anything right here to do with the client. We're not going to be using that whole little block. Let's see. We're not going to be doing anything to do with this right here. We'll go ahead and remove that. Now we'll see. We'll go ahead and also remove this. That's a lot of code we're removing. Let me Control Z that real quick. Put connected to true if it makes it this far. Double checking my notes to make sure that this is right. Make sure we're getting everything created. Alright, so we're creating our server here. This is everything, I believe. Actually, don't even need that stuff there. We can delete all that up to here. I'm going to try to keep this code as simple as possible for now. So now we'll say game state equals game state playing. So this should simplify the hosting code a lot. So now we have it all down to this right here. This little block here. Now that we have this done, this should all be like within the main menu. Alright. So now we can go to playing. Do what we need to do here. I just went ahead and just minimize that out. What we'll go ahead and do is make sure that this is working without getting any error. Click on host game. We did get an error there, but I think that's because... Alright, after doing a little bit of research to figure out what was going on exactly, I figured out it has to do with our code actually in there because, like I said, we were doing a lot of refactoring. So we're going to have to change a few things in the playing state. So let's see. Alright, what we'll go ahead and do for now, let's just go ahead and delete that if server, delete the event. And for now, we'll even delete this right here. That's what we're going to delete. We're going to delete all of that. And see if this fixes our issue. And it does. So now that we can host the game, we're not getting there. It had to do with ENet. And so for now, we're not even going to worry about this at the moment. We can leave this here, but we'll comment these two out. And so now we're back on track, and that's just part of development. You're going to get errors when developing. But that's alright, it's part of the learning experience. It's probably the most aggravating part. My part I hate the most is debugging errors. Alright, so let's see where we're at now. Our game state is equal to playing. So now I can say while, we can refix this, while window.pull event, we'll say if event.type is equal to SF, or what is it, event closed. Then we can say game state equals game state closed, and if we got everything properly now, we just cut that, put that in here as well. See, now we can click on host game. Closing it works. Let's make sure that clicking on the X works as well. Alright, so all that issue, which looked kind of like an SFML issue, this is important to notice, can actually be caused by ENet. Like, I don't know why C++ can be kind of weird like that, but yeah. Now that we have that taken care of, let's figure out, we're going to have to put all this code back, but we're going to have to put it back in the correct setting. Look at my notes here. Alright. So that's just handling the closing and stuff, so I don't have to worry about that. So what we're gonna do is, whenever this happens, if I am host, because we did set that to true, I believe. Yep. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say if I am host. There's gonna be some code we're gonna add in here. We'll go ahead and, where's our little update at? I think we deleted that, didn't we? I know our we still got that P1 update. We want to get that out of wherever it's at right now. Oh, that's P2 update. So that's player 2 update. Alright. So we went ahead and deleted that. So now we're just going to check if I am host. This video is probably going to be a little bit longer. I'm just going to let you know. We'll go ahead and start by P1. Update. We'll plug in the delta time. Now we're going to say while ENet host service. It's going to take in server. A reference to E event. We're going to put it just like that while it's greater than 0. Then we're going to put in a switch. Event.type. I know that we've already done some of this before, but we want to make sure that we do it right. Now, case ENet connect. Let's see, ENet event type connect. We're just going to stdc out. A new client connected. We're not going to worry about all the other stuff that we already did. We've seen how to do that. Now, this is the important part while we were getting some errors. Now let's see. Now appear is equal to event dot. That's why. That's tricky with these events. So instead of event here, we need to make sure it's E event. That way we don't have any issues. So E event. That's why naming is important. Now E event dot appear. Now it's working right. So probably for future reference, we can name it better stuff. Like from the beginning, name it SFML event or ENet event, and then we won't have these issues. But that's okay. And for now, we're going to add break. Now, let's see. That's if I'm host. Now we need to add one to where, let's make sure like the server works. So join game or client. Let's see, where did I put success equals false? Up here at the beginning. So then it says if it is equal to type connect. Then we'll put success equals true. And then in here, whenever it equals true, we'll go ahead and put I am client equals true as well. Right in here, and the way we got it set up. So now the reason I put those booleans there, or bulls, whatever you want to call them. So now when we're in here, right now we got if I am host in the game playing, we can now do if I am client. Now this should be the fun part. Well, I don't know about how fun of a part, but definitely a fun part. Let me find my notes. Stuff gets a little bit crazy. Alright, so now that we're the client, we'll go ahead and do p2.update and we'll pass in our delta time. That way, whenever you connect, like if you're connecting, you're player 2. If you're the host, you're player 1. This way you don't control the other person's paddle. So now that we got that in here, we'll go ahead and do while ENet host service. We'll pass in the client. Reference to E event 0 and greater than 0. And we'll also do a switch, and we'll do an E event dot type. Now we'll do case ENet, or yeah, ENet type ENet event type receive. There we go. And now we're gonna handle packet logic. I'm just gonna go ahead and type that in here for now. Well, since I can't completely close this yet, see if I can put a break in here. Aha, I see the issue. Didn't put a call in here. There we go. Right now, we'll just keep it like this until we get ready to actually send the position. Now, because we'll be wanting to send our packets immediately, we'll do ENet host flush client. Alright. We'll also copy this code. Make sure this is correct. We'll add in another case here. ENet, I'll just go ahead and copy this. Well, besides the double case. Alright. So now we have it where one can connect, and we're gonna get ready to handle our packet logic if we have a type receive. And now we're just gonna go ahead and make sure we don't have any errors here. debug, and we're gonna I'm gonna go ahead and build this in release mode. See if I can show you guys a thing or two. Alright, now it's built in release mode. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna open up our folder. Now this is important. We're gonna have to copy our source folder and our SFML folder. No, not our SFML. We're going to have to copy our source folder here. And we'll have to copy all these DLL files. So I'm holding control and clicking. I'm just going to copy these. We're going to go back to our ENet setup, or whatever you named your project, x64, release. Depending, it looks like I may have already added everything in here. For the build, we may have already previously done that. Alright, if we got everything in there, I'm just going to drag this over to my other game. I'm going to click on host game, which I'm in there. Now what I'm going to do is close this. I'm going to, let me see, I don't care about that being on my screen. We're going to go to debug here. And we'll click on join game. We're going to make sure that we can properly connect. And right now we have not. Well, now we did. Finally. Okay guys, there's a little wild ride here. Figured out why we were having an issue. We could connect, but it was only connecting half the time. So what you want to do is go back up here to where it says join game sprite, wherever we join in this session. And it says if ENet host service client and ENet event right here is 0. This is under the client, or the join game sprite, so you'd be the client. Just go ahead and put this to 5,000, because if we leave it on 0, you'll get failed to connect a lot, and you'll occasionally get connection succeeded, because it needs some time to process. So after you get that done, if you go to your build folder, you can go ahead and run your game, click on host. I'm just dragging this onto my other window. Make sure you don't close your command thing. Then we will go to here, click debug, or make sure it's on debug. We'll start our game. We'll click on join. And what do you know? We're connected on both of them. Connection succeeded, and on my other terminal I can see a new client connected, and I can see both of them moving, but we're only moving each one respected to its own, and the other one isn't updating. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get our positions to send for the paddles. We're going to actually start creating some packets. Now this is going to be a long video, bear in mind, but it's okay, it'll be worth it. What we're going to need to do now is, let's see, let me look at my notes. We'll need to have one more boolean, I believe. Before we do, let me double check. Oh no, actually we won't. Alright. So it doesn't matter which one we start with. We'll go ahead and start with our client. So under playing, look for I am client. Right here, handle packet logic under ENet type receive. We'll go ahead and say if remember event dot packet, put an arrow data length is equal to size of, and SF vector 2F, because we're going to be sending a packet like through a vector 2. Then inside of here, I don't like the way that that's formatted. There we go. Then we'll say SF vector 2F received position, and we'll say mem copy with only one CPY. Careful of that. It'll take a reference, if I can find the ampersand, to our, let's see, receipt position, and ENet dot packet data, and we'll say size of SF vector 2F. And now we'll do, because this is our client, we control player 2, we'll say P1 dot set position to received position. Now here's the beautiful thing about this code we got here. We need one more thing to do under here. We're going to do ENet packet destroy, because we've already finished using our packet, and then ENet dot packet. That's what we're going to destroy, because we don't need the packets saving up in memory after we got them and we processed the data inside like that and used it. We'll go ahead and destroy the packet so it's not overflowing our memory. And now we want to make sure that everything's just cleared up, so we're going to ENet host flush to make sure that any packets that were in there are processed immediately. Alright. So now that we do that, we're good here. And now, let's see this code right here. We can copy this. Let's go to IAM server. Right here we handle packet launcher if I'm host. Make sure that I'm doing this completely right, because I don't feel like going back and doing it twice. I know we've done a lot of changing. That's okay. Alright. So now we see if we receive it. This is going to be the same, except it's going to be P2 set position instead of P1 set position. Now we're gonna flush, let's see, what did we name? We named it server, so we'll flush the server. And we'll destroy our packet here. Now that that's done, we got one more thing that we gotta do. We can go ahead and add in one more thing here. Just so we know if I didn't mean to do that. We're gonna add in case. That way we know if the person lags out or quits. ENet event type disconnect. Then we'll just see out peer disconnected. We can still, get more data than that and tell who disconnected and what, but there's no need to do that. We'll also put peer equal to null pointer. And also we'll add our semicolon or our colon there. That way we don't get an error. And then a breakpoint. Alright, this is the fun part. Open up your paddle class. We're going to be creating a new function. So in here, what we're going to actually do, we're going to add a new function under public. We're going to call it void send packet. And it's going to take an ENet, let's see, pointer. We're going to name it peer. I'm going to make sure we get ENet properly initialized. We're going to name it peer. And also, before we can do that, at the top we're going to need to include our ENet, ENet.h. Now we'll see if we can create a proper ENet peer. Let's see. ENet peer pointer, and we're going to name it peer. And the second parameter we're going to take is a const SF vector 2F. It has to be like this. A reference to packet. That's what we're going to call that position we're sending in. Now once you get that, we can just right click on send packet. Go to create its definition. Alright. Now we're in here. I'll try to make it for sending the packets for it as easy as possible. This took a little bit of research. So we're going to say size t data size equals size of SF vector 2f, because we do gotta have the size of it. And this right here, you know, we can add some comments in here. Calculate the size of the data. And we're gonna create the packet. ENet packet, and it's gonna take the pointer. And we're just gonna name this packet. Aha. What I will do here to make this a little easier is I'm gonna name this data right here on this side, that way I don't get it confused. So now we'll put ENet pointer to packet. I'll actually name it that on the other one just to keep it consistent. Name it that in the header as well. Alright, so ENet pointer to packet equals ENet packet create, take a reference to the data, the data size, and then 0. And now we're gonna send the packet. ENet peer send. We're gonna send it to peer 0 and packet. I have to double check. I looked on that, but I believe that this right here, you know, is gonna be its flag for sending it. And this right here, I believe, is gonna be the channel that it's sending on, the 0 here. So now that we got that done, we can go back to our main, and hopefully we can get everything to work right. Let's see. Now I'm going to show you how to actually create it. Alright, so when we want to create our packet, you figure out where I put it. I've looked it up. I wrote this down in my notes, or typed it up in my notes to be more specific. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do it in our host first. We'll get out of this switch case, and along with that we will do it after the while loop. We're going to do if, because we want to make sure that peer is not equal to null, because you will get a crash if somebody disconnects and you send the packet, you know. That's the reason we're doing this check and doing the disconnect type here, so your thing doesn't crash when somebody leaves. Alright, and of course it's not null when somebody connects, so that handles that issue. So now all we gotta do is we'll put p1 dot send packet, because we attached that to our thing. We're gonna send it to our paddle class, so we'll send it to the peer p1 dot get position. Well, we don't have that there. There's different ways we could do it, but we're just gonna go ahead and create that function as well. Get position. Let's go back to our paddle class. Go into paddle H. Void get position. Actually, it's going to be SF vector 2f get position. Now we're going to create the definition of it, and we're just going to return, what is it, paddle pause. Alright, and now we're going to be sending our position there, and after we send it, we're going to do ENet packet destroy event.packet, which I don't even think we need to do this, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to destroy the packet after we send it. Now time for the client. Let's see. We'll go up here. Where did we go down? Where did we put the client? Here's IAM host. That's where that's at. IAM client, we put it down below. Alright. So now, the client is only going to be sending it, you know, when they're connected. So we'll do the same thing kind of here. We'll go out of our while loop. We'll do p2.send packet. Peer p2.get position. And now hopefully, just hopefully, everything worked right. So we're going to go ahead and compile this in release mode. Now what we'll do, we'll change this back to debug. We're going to go to our folder, go to our release folder, x64 release. We're going to launch it up. We're going to host the game. I'll just put this in my other window just for simplicity. We're going to launch this one here. We're going to join the game. And there we go. Now we can see for some reason I only got one working. Okay, I did some debugging here. And we actually need to put, I don't know what was going on, why I wouldn't connect before, but under ENet host server you need to make sure there's a 0 here under IAM host. And under IAM client, you need to make sure there's a 0 here. And I just did some debug logging. I'll show you how I did that to make sure packets were received. Now that we did that, we actually don't need that debug log to be printing out. I think it's just a problem with my network at the moment. My network goes up and down. And now that we got this, make sure that under IAM host, you know, it's set back to 0 here. It's greater than 0. Now if we do this, could just be when I was recording I was getting issues. And while IAM client, we got it where we're setting that position that we created a minute ago. We want that set position now. I'm just going to recompile it just to be sure. And that could actually be the issue because I'm using my CPU to record right now because my GPU does not like acting very nicely whenever I record. So alright, so I've dragged this to my other screen. I clicked host game. Now I'm going to run this in debug mode. I'm going to click on join game. And now as you can see, our paddles are synced up, but because we're controlling it in one, like on one computer, they're both going to be moving at the same time, but they're actually moving like independently. One's being sent through the network. Now we can close our client, you know, or our client, the other one connected. And I still missed the debug log. And on the other screen in a minute, you should see it worked correctly. Eventually it should say you disconnect. And it did not, but that's okay. Because we know that it is working. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I've ran this and we see our other player is not being controlled anymore. There's the peer disconnected. It just took a minute to register. But it did set it to null or else we would have crashed already. But now that you got that set up, you have everything you need to know on how to create a multiplayer style game that's just moving the paddles. You know, the ball will be similar. Create functions, you know, to handle the back and forth, handle the ball position, and occasionally update the speed. You can also create a tick rate by using your clock. I'm not going to go completely into it, but you could say like float tick rate equals, let's say, however often you want to update. Like instead of updating every every second, you know. You could update every half a second or whatever, depending on how much stuff you got going on, because not all types of games will have to be updated equally, you know. And then you could I would actually put this right here, and then I'm not actually gonna tell you how to do it, you know, but you could do, or I'll show you how to do it, but I'm not actually gonna set it up. Let's see, timer equals 0, and then you could say like, if timer is less than tick rate, then we'll say timer plus equals dt dot, or delta time is already a second, so you can just say as dt. And then you'll say like if it's less than it, then you could say if you could say if timer is equal to or greater than dt, but it'd actually be greater than or equal to, it would be that way. Then you could make your actions happen in the in the tick rate there, and then you could put timer back equal to 0 after you put your actions, and then this will just go in a loop, so then you're only calling functions whenever you want. You can do that with packet handling, packet sending, however you want to do it, but that's just a brief little explanation on how you could do it. But unfortunately, I'd like to make this tutorial series longer, but I have college classes coming up and I'm going to be busy again. But instead of creating the full game, I showed you the framework on everything you need to know to get objects synced up across the network and how to join and stuff. And also you could little side note, if you got this far, you can surely do it. You could, like, instead of typing in the IP manually, you could get with an address. You could do like that, and you could also do a constant char pointer, because I'm just gonna throw you a bone here, because the IP address has to be a constant char pointer. We'll just name it pointer, or let's see, IP formatted, just whatever you want. We're gonna name this IP formatted. This is just a bone here in case you wanted to do that. There's a little bit of bonus extra stuff, so then you could, instead of doing this right here, you could put IP formatted as a pointer, you know, and then you could see in your IP address like that. Like, this is just showing you for, like, if you wanted to have it where you could join like one of your friends, you know. And then so you can get it to the IP formatted, you just do, you forget this here, you could just do IP address or IP formatted equals IP address dot C string. And this will convert it so you can get it. That's just a little Easter egg, so you don't have to do that work. And that's how you could have it actually CN. Get the input to which IP address you want to join. There's multiple ways you can do it, but that's just probably the simplest way to do it. But I was showing you guys, I hope you enjoyed the series. And if you like the series, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment on what you want to see. And I'll be sure to try to bring it whenever I'm available. I'm going to continue to try to upload, but it's going to be different topics that doesn't require as much research for now. But yeah, guys, thank you for sitting through the series, and I hope you learned something and can get you started to creating your own multiplayer game. Thank you, guys. There's still a couple of other things you need to learn, but I've got you on the right track. But you can hopefully figure that out now that I've got you far enough. And as I always say, ChatGPT is your friend. Sometimes annoying, but it is your friend. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Hit the subscribe button. Later, guys.